Hello and welcome to this Warcraft replay. Welcome back to this game too. Going for another round at this. I wasn't particularly satisfied with my first attempt, so let's just go ahead and get to it. We have Yumiko spawning in as the grey human player in the top right. He will be facing off against FQQ, the teal human player in the top left. Human mirror here on the map Echo Isles. The game going to Yumiko in game 1, so the series is now 1-0 to him. Yeah, this is actually like a day or two after I actually recorded the series, so I might not remember too much detail in game 1 because I have displayed pretty horrible memory skills, and the only reason why I'm reattempting this is because I'm pretty sure I went all over the place in game 2. So might as well just try again. Yumiko going for pretty standard start as far as I can see. Meanwhile, over on FQQ's side, he is going for the similar game 1 skipping barracks tier 3 rush kind of thing. Yeah, last game didn't work out too well for him because his barracks and blacksmith got delayed when he finished his keep tech, and then I have no idea how he band-aided that thing, but he didn't do it effectively enough to actually retake the advantage that Yumiko took from him. So yeah, Yumiko basically reacted really well and went for a tier 3 himself. But he had more than what FQQ could have ever achieved, which is an expansion, I think. I'm trying to remember if he had an expansion or not. But he managed to get tier 3 in a reasonably fast time while sticking to the standard opening. So yeah, FQQ might need to change things a little bit. Let's see if he will stick to that knight route or go for, I don't know, something like workshop units or maybe even griffins. Griffins would seem the more logical step because it doesn't require as much tech as the other two options. Knights would require obviously the blacksmith and the barracks. Workshop would obviously require the workshop and the barracks. So I would expect to see griffins since they only require tier 3, and air units are pretty effective things to rush because humans have pretty poor anti-air solution other than flying machines or Dragonhawk riders themselves. So yeah, FQQ on the aggressive right now, and surprisingly enough, he has the same amount of experience as his opponent, which is pretty. I was gonna say pretty impressive, but I guess it's not since both players did take out the green creep camp over here. Let's just slow down the mouse acceleration because it was actually pretty awkward controlling the camera, and for some reason I was on full sensitivity there. So early keep for FQQ. Yumiko is gonna follow suit as he now confirmed. Yeah, he's gonna go the same thing. Early arcane vault coming out for FQQ here. Earlier than usual, I would say. But I don't think it actually serves a real purpose. But yeah, only time will tell, I guess. 2 close of attack plus 6 for FQQ's Archmage, which is actually pretty nice in conjunction with those 2 circlets of nobility. So he's already stacking up to plus 16 attack. That's a lot for the first 4 minutes of the game. Archmage probably should get to level 2 since, you know, might as well just follow along the flow. Boot of Speed TP Staff being picked up by Yumiko. He will be TPing up to the top there, actually slipping by the Archmage of FQQ, and might actually get some nice harassment done. Unless these militia have anything to say about it. Castle Tech has started for FQQ. I've yet to see any sort of indication on which path he would go for. The lumber mill is on the way as well. Double arcane tower, probably not as effective as you know, as a guard tower, but I guess it was all due to that lumber mill's delay. Mountain King is also on the way for FQQ. Meanwhile, Yumiko still on the way to Keep Tick. He is gonna build his Arcane Vault and Lava Mill already completed. So I guess like right now Yumiko's goal here is to just wait out the storm. Even though there's probably not much of a storm, Griffin Aviaries are going to be placed down for FQQ, so he will be going for that air unit route. Boots of Speed, no TP staff as we actually lack inventory space there for the Archmage, so might as well just pick the boots. Yumiko going for this Murloc camp, and it will actually drop a Tome of Experience, which is pretty good on Yumiko's luck. Unfortunately, it didn't actually give him a level, but well, it gave him half progression to level 3 anyway. FQQ might be able to get a couple of footmen here and getting himself to level 2 after that first one. Might get a second one here with his plus 16 attack, but Yumiko might have something to say about it. I mean, he almost did, but the blocking wasn't as effective as it could have been. Mountain King could maybe go for a Stormbolt there, but it proves unnecessary. Yumiko is also going for his own Mountain King. Blacksmith being placed down in the front here, actually being discontinued. That might have been a mistake from Yumiko. He will cancel that and start tier 3 instead. A little reminiscent of game 1, I guess. FQQ actually building the blacksmith in a pretty exposed location, allowing his opponent to actually take it down, and that might be a repeat here on the other side for Yumiko. He might be losing himself an Arcane Vault, but he did bring a couple of peasants over to repair that store. The Mountain King is out now. He is level 1, but I guess his main goal here is to divert the attention away from the Arcane Vault. Stormbolt to the face once again. We might have a bit of a semi-surround here, but it doesn't look like FQQ was fast enough. Mountain King will be able to run away. He does have the Regen Scroll and the Clarity Potion available. Meanwhile, Yumiko's Archmage still farming out. Will get himself that level 3 and probably just TP Scroll back home. He might just walk the old-fashioned way, but TP might... Actually, I don't think he should TP. It's only 2 heroes, and the only damage dealt was the Arcane Vault. The Elemental will be taken out, so it's pretty much just the 2 heroes here. Lots of feedback damage coming down onto the Archmage. The Mountain King also out of mana himself. Alright, Yumiko has both of his heroes here and might actually get off a kill on this Mountain King. Unless FQQ TP's back home. Will he be able to get that Mountain King out in time? No, he will not. A millisecond too late, and that was rather unfortunate. Griffin Aviaries have, however, been spotted by the illusion of Yumiko, so he should react in time. In fact, he is. He is going to place down Griffin Aviary number 1. Not sure whether or not he is going to go for a second Griffin Aviary. Yes, Dragonhawk Riders are pretty good in dealing with those Griffins, but not 1v2. Not if you're outnumbered. I think flying machines were a better choice, especially since the blacksmith is finished. So I think workshops would have been a much suitable solution to this. Griffins out for FQQ. He's actually got 4 Griffins out, so that's an insane amount of damage already available for the teal human player. He'll be able to, do these camps pretty easily, even though like these huntsmen over here can actually ensnare the air units. Yeah, that's pretty much all the anti-air that could ever happen. They're pretty scary anti-air over here, maybe. Huntsman over here as well, and Huntsman over here. I guess it's not that bad, but it's still a ton of damage from those Griffins. It doesn't look like Storm Hammers has been upgraded just yet. FQQ surprisingly still only about 44 supply. He's actually going to build himself his own workshop. Pally's also coming out. So workshop to maybe counter the Dragonhawk Riders from Yumiko, which would be a really good solution because he'll be able to mess up those flying machine a lot easier than Dragonhawks. Alright, level 2 Mounting, almost level 3 himself. The Archmage is also pretty close to level 4 him as well. Mounting actually picking up a Tome of Experience, so that's able to give himself level 3. That's actually pretty rare that both camps drop the Tome of Experience. I don't remember if that has happened recently. It's probably happened before, but like probably not too recent. Dragonhawks are out. 3 for Yumiko. Not sure if they're quite enough for the 4 Griffins of FQQ. Definitely they will be able to handle the most of those Griffins since they can just shackle one by one, as you can see right there. But of course, interrupts can actually just cancel that shackle, as seen by this ensnare by that NPC Troll Trapper, which is pretty funny. Alright, flying machines are out. Really good answer to the Dragonhawks of Yumiko, because like Yumiko's answer to the Griffins is the Dragonhawks, but like at the same time Griffins can attack Dragonhawks as well. They're like really strong, so they're nothing to be laughing at. Yumiko will actually place down his own 2 workshops there. I'm not sure if he's gonna go for flying machines. He could go for the siege engines once again. I did mention there are 2 sides to the siege engines. It's either you know, Yumiko's really bored, he wants to end this game quick, or he's really desperate and he wants to win in like a pretty easy way. Let's see if he will go siege engines. I think in this situation he would be the latter. I don't think he's bored. I think he's pretty desperate because he's been reacting every single action of FQQ, and now he's seen the flying machines. He's actually pretty scared of engaging. A TP scroll will be used on the Archmage. Will the Dragonhawks actually fall? They will not. They're gonna be pretty low health, but they will still live regardless. So try her out for Yumiko as well. Level 4, level 2, I believe. Meanwhile, FQQ has level 3, level 3, level 2. Oh, he also has a regen ring, so that's going to be pretty helpful in terms of his survivability. Siege engines are actually on the way. In fact, Barrage is also being researched there to deal with those flying machines. Barrage is actually a pretty epic upgrade, in fact. Makes those siege engines shoot millions of missiles, and it's actually pretty enjoyable to watch. Let's see if that will actually happen, because there are a ton of air units out for FQQ, and I would love to see those siege engines just go ham. Siege engine number 1 will be coming out very, very soon. Yumiko won't be that effective against those Griffins since they are pretty beefy compared to those flying machines, but once these siege engines actually mass up in numbers, it's going to be pretty good anti-air, anti-building threat. Alright, here we go, shooting 3 missiles at a time. It's actually a pretty obscure range, so yeah, it's maybe not maximizing its missiles. There we go, look at that barrage. Flying machines have yet to get their bomb upgrade, so they can't attack ground units, but yeah, it would be pretty good if they actually did, since they will also be pretty effective against those siege engines, since the rockets are indeed siege damage. FQQ probably needs to be a little careful with his Griffins there, as yeah, magic damage does reduce against fortified. There we go, fortified. Oh, surround on the Pally, and that is going to be the Paladin dead. The Stormbolt was It's pretty good ability there, preventing him from Divine Shielding. But then again, even if he did Divine Shield, he would have just been surrounded regardless, because surround would have just stayed. I guess the Archmage could have just Sanctuaried, but I'm pretty sure it's on cooldown. Mortar Teams. Alright, Mortar Teams are out for FQQ. He will be able to deal with those siege engines at a reasonable way. I still think that the flying machine bombs are pretty good as well. It just gives the flying machines another purpose in this game. Alright, siege engine count is up to 3. No upgrades whatsoever from Yumiko, and I don't think we're gonna have it. So, yeah, those siege engines probably need to start hitting the bases, because they shouldn't actually be massed up to deal with an air threat. That's what flying machines are for, honestly. Okay, here we go. Lots of flying machines there, and lots of missiles out from those siege engines. Dragonhawks are still staying alive pretty well. Both players look like they are maybe going for an expand now. It is a fairly late expand, but better late than never, I guess. Just prolongs the game even more. And FQQ is actually long distance mining, which is not as good as expanding, but maybe he just move commanded and completely forgot to build the keep, or the town hall. Alright, 65 versus 50. FQQ does have the supply advantage there. Mortar teams are continuing to mass, and flying machines have yet to get their upgrades. Except 1-0. So mortar teams and flying machines do have 1-0. FQQ has spotted this expand, might be able to answer for it. A little bit of a scuffle here. The Dragonhawks are being chased down by those flying machines, but they need to be careful. The siege engines can have a hell of a time over here, and as you can see, lots of burning in the air. Siege engine number 1 gets taken down by those griffins, however, and yeah, it will force Yumiko to actually retreat. The paladin is in danger, but he will be able to get sanctuaried out. Alright, so you can see how effective those siege engines can be against those flying machines. However, those griffins are still a bit of a problem. You can see there that siege engines do seem to accumulate a decent amount of damage, and in fact able to kill one of those griffins. So yeah, it's a pretty double-edged sword kind of way. Sorceress actually getting left alone by that TP, so pretty unfortunate there. And it seems like the flying machines are giving away the next target for FQQ. I mean, it's a no-brainer that FQQ will go after this expansion. Siege engines, they were almost in range of those flying machines. A couple of good volleys, and then those flying machines should go to the ground. The Mountain King over there in the top left is taking quite a bit of a beating, but he was able to force a griffin to get sanctuaried back home. Another strong bolt to the face, and Yumiko probably needs to be careful there. Invulnerability potion will be used. Flying machines actually getting their bomb upgrade, so they will be able to siege the town hall. There we go. Will we see them sieging the siege engines? Probably not a good idea, since most of them are pretty close to dead. Oh, I guess not. They will just go past the siege engines, and the siege engines will have a fairly good kill count. Uh-oh. A pretty messy fight from both sides. Lots of elementals out in the battlefield. 3 on each side. But yeah, not much else happening. Yumiko going for knights himself. No animal war training just yet. Another strongbolt to the face on the paladin of Yumiko, and it looks like the previous paladin kill was avenged. Call to Arms has now triggered. Probably a good idea for FQQ to actually retreat, as he shouldn't underestimate these militia, and he will actually get himself surrounded on the Mountain King. But a very good Thunderclap will be able to deal a decent amount of damage, and the Holy Lights of the Paladin will be able to keep him alive. Still, like, FQQ is in enemy territory. He does have a couple of Griffins still in the air, and Stormbolt, Thunderhammers is researched, so they will be able to deal some splash damage, as you can see over here. The farms are taking quite a bit of a beating. I don't know where the flying machines are. I'm pretty sure not all of them has been taken out. They could be a pretty good asset to this current fight, but I guess not. Mannequin does get sanctuaried back home. Okay, there we go. FQQ actually is sending his flying machines to deal with this harassing knight who's able to get quite a decent number of kills on those peasants there. It will take quite a bit of time for the knight to actually get taken out. The flying machines do a pretty poor ground damage value, plus it's siege damage, so it has no advantage whatsoever against heavy armor. And in fact, the knight will actually be able to get out alive. So value knight over here. Oh, siege engine's coming over to maybe finish the job. Yep, pretty methodical way of dealing with that. Expand, kill all the peasants, and then later kill all the buildings. Okay, so it seems like both players' expansions have been rather unsuccessful. Gold mines do seem fairly close. FQQ, in fact, mining a lot less, despite, you know, Yumiko's falling down a lot earlier. I think it's because FQQ built his town hall a little late. Alright, seems to be a game of attrition right now. Both players don't really want to commit to a full assault. They're just trying to bide their time there. The knight will actually be taken out, but the siege engines do seem like they will be able to finish the job. I guess not. I mean, there's absolutely no reason to pull out there. Those siege engines pretty much like serve their purpose. I guess not. FQQ going for a barracks himself, so I guess he wants to join in on the knight action as well. Yumiko actually starting rifleman production. A reasonable transition, I would say. They're like, riflemen are also very good anti-air units. They do well against any sort of enemy. So yeah, there we have it. FQQ is still sticking to his magical number 4 on those griffin counts, but apparently he probably needs more than that, because he did just retreat from that battle. So he is going to start producing more griffins. His flying machines may need a little bit of a repair job. FQQ once again gonna become under siege in this expansion. Might be able to lose it finally, but yeah, the gold mines have pretty much equalized. He has mined 10 more gold compared to his opponent. There we go, but has Yumiko overstayed? Let's see how this will turn out to be, as flying machines are actually just taking too much space in the air, but at least they are able to absorb the damage. We still have a fairly healthy number of griffins out in the air. Thunderclap will be able to deal quite a bit of damage to that Archmage of Yumiko. Losing at level 5 is actually a pretty devastating loss there. Mountain King, if he does lose that as well, that is going to be fairly certain Yumiko's loss, because reviving 2 high level heroes is a pain in the ass unless you do it through the tavern. And it seems like Yumiko lost pretty badly there. And quiet. Okay, hopefully the music starts back soon. Another Stormbolt to the face, to the pally. He will be able to Divine Shield out if needed. He does have enough mana for that. He might just be waiting for another Stormbolt there, but yeah. Now he needs to be careful. He could get Stormbolted himself. Except Yumiko is actually struggling a little bit in terms of mana. The Archmage is halfway there. If Yumiko does lose this Altar of Kings, then it's going to be fairly hard to actually come back from this. FQQ, I believe he did Stormbolt the pally, but was able to get Divine Shielded, so nice reaction time there from Yumiko, able to deny that fairly critical ability, and Militia being brought over to try and defend the space, but it's just an absolute slaughter, and that is going to be game. Paladin drops at level 3, and the Mountain King might be able to follow suit as well, but nope, GG from Yumiko first, and that is going to be game. So, tied up series, we are going to have a game 3. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys again in game 3.